this is an interview that was like a fucking joy to get ready for, just because like I mean, actually, like I fucked with your music, but then like through getting ready for this interview, I was like, no, I really fuck with this guy's music, like more than I realized.
Man,
so
I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's an honor to have you on here and stuff. So, let's talk about the rapping a little bit before we get into like your background and stuff. Like, who do you credit for the rapper that you ended up today? Like, in terms of like anyone who influenced you, because you do something to tracks when you get on a fucking track. Like, you're not just like really rapping like everybody else. Like, you really bring a level of intensity and
Turn
energy.
up on them shits. No, like I grew up to motherfucking niggas like Juvenile, you know what I'm saying? Master P, you know what I mean? When I was a shorty, like I was going off that 400 degrees. And I was a shorty. And then like listen to my big brothers rock the Master P like that. Like that whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? It was just like when Juvie rap and guys like that, when I walk outside, I was seeing that everything. He painted that picture so vivid. Like especially like with Detroit and New Orleans, we got so much in common, you know what I mean? Just as far as like not culture wise, but just like the streets, you know what I mean? The codes in the streets and how we move, and like our ghettos, it's just like one and the same. You feel me? So like yeah, definitely Juvie, P, you know, Gucci Man for sure. That was like, you know what I mean? Right now, like rock with Future real heavy.
I remember when I first saw the Ha video from Juvenile, and I was like 11, 12 or some shit, and that was like a mind-blowing experience. Like I just didn't know that like that's what New Orleans looked like. I didn't know that dudes were rapping like that. Like that just kind of took me away.
Real
at that
slums,
point.
like, you know what I mean? He brought that vibe, that feeling to Cameron. It was just like, oh yeah, he the one. It's it right here.
And there's like a certain thing about a lot of your music too, where it's like if you have like a certain style or slang or whatever, but you're uncompromising and you don't give a fuck about the people at home necessarily being like, you're giving them something to decode and understand. Like you might not know what all the slang that Icewear Vezzo is using means right away, but if you spend enough time with it, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
you know
that's facts. Okay, so tell us about your growing up in, well, you're from Minneapolis and then you moved to Detroit young, right?
Yeah, I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I moved to Detroit when I was 5. My mama had married my stepfather or whatever, so he was doing prison time in Minneapolis. As soon as he got out, he like, nah, I gotta get the fuck on, I'm going back home. You know, he married my mama and we all left. First hood we moved to was on the east side, was on Mac and my Elliott, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's just been up ever since, you know what I mean? We lived on Meldrum for probably like 2 years, and we moved on Sanford on 6 Mile, and I've been over there my whole life.
Okay.
Since 7 years old, I've been on 6 Mile, and it been that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know
was it hard growing up, or what was like the level of struggle that you were really going through in terms of your upbringing?
I mean, for me, that shit was normal, you know what I mean? I just know like when we first moved to Detroit, we was fucked up, like real fucked up. I knew we was fucked up as a kid. I felt it, just the way our house looked, all that shit, we was finished. But by the time my mom moved us on 6 Mile, she had got a job at AJ Wright. My mama hustler, she know how to make that shit work. You know what I'm saying? She ain't never like sold dope and shit like that. She just finesse. She just good with her money and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? I know she had it hard. I know she was struggling raising all them boys like that and paying so many bills and doing all that shit. I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had the shit I wanted. I had Nintendo 64. You know what I mean? 007 gold, and now that's all I cared about.
Right.
I had Jordans every blue moon when I asked for the motherfuckers. Like, I ain't want much as a child, like, cause I didn't see much. You know, it was different. Like when you grow up in the suburbs or some shit like that, you might see certain shit and that's what you want.
Right.
And then you'll see where your parents at financially. If your friends got something and you ask for that and your mom and dad can't provide it, and then that keep happening, you're like, oh, we must ain't got it.
Because as a kid, you could go a long ass time without really realizing where your family's at. I remember I had a friend, he lived in a trailer park, and I never really realized until I went to his crib and my mom came to pick me up at his crib, and I'm like 4th grade or some shit. But then I'm realizing from like watching my mom talk to his mom, and I'm realizing like, oh, like my parents have a lot more money than these people, but then also the same situation from meeting people that had a lot more money than us. Like, oh, fuck, like there's really rich people and we're not in that category.
Yeah. See, like by the surroundings, everybody was fucked up in our hood. So we ain't know. I wanted a regular bike. We was putting them bitches together. You know what I mean? I wasn't watching kids go to Target or Walmart and come with brand new bikes. I was watching kids make their own bike, finding bike parts. I did the same shit. We put cans on the back of the tires to make the bitch sound like a motorcycle. Like I wanted simple shit, and that was stuff my mama ain't have to provide because we knew how to get that shit. You know what I'm saying? We wanted junk, play with junk. You know what I mean? That was fun to me. Just flipping on the dirty mattresses outside. That was fun. That's what we wanted to do. So I did. That's what I mean by when I say I did and I had what I wanted.
Because I heard you in an older interview where you were saying that like you're the first rapper from Detroit, from like the actual trenches, like where you came from, to have really made it, which is interesting because, you know, obviously there's a lot of rappers who've come out of Detroit over the years, but you're making it pretty clear that you feel like your circumstances was a little bit more extreme.
It was fucked up, you know, but now you got other rappers like Doug, you know what I'm saying? And like it's a lot of people that's coming up now who really from that way, who really from the slums, like, you know what I mean? People that I can vouch for and they can vouch for me because we seen each other in the hood. We watched each other come up. Niggas was fucked up together, like, you know what I mean? Like, dude was hanging with my little mans at one point, you know what I mean? It's a lot of rappers that, you know, like now that's coming up that's really from that way. I was like the first rapper out of everybody to kind of get popular, you know what I'm saying? Like, because before that you had Eminem, you know what I mean? Niggas like, you know, like Sean, Royce, you know what I mean? Not to take away from what they did or what they upbringing was like. I'm just saying from what I can relate to, where we was at, what we seen, what we did, you know what I'm saying?
Did you ever see the video where we showed the Insane Clown Posse, your video?
Yeah, I seen that
shit. They were hyped. They were fucking with
it. That's lit. Yeah, I definitely know about that when I was a shorty too, but I ain't listen to that shit.
They're from a different world, very different world.
Yeah, I think they from like Mount Clemens or something. That's like the suburbs of the suburbs.
Generationally too, it's like, you know, it's kind of hard to like look at an Eminem and be like, oh yeah, like I'm a rapper just like him. It's like, nah, you've been rich as fuck for 20 fucking years.
Ironically, Eminem from the same block as me.
Really?
Can you believe that?
Wow.
I'm from Sanford and Bradford.
Damn.
So like Bradford start off as a side street, then it turned into an actual street. Eminem from Bradford. Right between 6 and 7 Mile. Right down, like around the corner from Osborne. His house, he used it on the album cover before.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the same block I'm from. That shit was like walking distance, like probably 5 minutes walking distance from my crib.
So were you a kid like hearing about Eminem and this was like a specter? Like it was crazy to think that this dude is from the same place?
That shit blew our mind. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to walk past that crib all the time. The bitch was vacant, but like it blew our mind to see motherfucker like Eminem be so far up. And he really from Detroit. Like he really from this bitch. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ain't from the suburbs. He really from Detroit. You know what I mean? I don't know how the 8 Mile shit came about, because where the block, the house he stayed in, that shit ain't on 8 Mile. Yeah.
There's a different
That
area,
shit in the hood, that shit in the slums. 8 Mile was like the suburbs.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like 8 Mile, where you gotta have a license. Where you go over there, you like, you know what I mean?
You remember watching that movie as a kid?
Fuck yeah. I love Eminem, man. You love
That's
Eminem.
tight. Hell yeah. You watched that movie thinking like,
a hero for us.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, we proud of Eminem. Like, you know what I mean? We proud to claim
That's dope.
Eminem. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
good to hear.
He ain't gotta be from the slums and all that shit. We don't expect him to do certain shit. Like, he don't owe nobody he don't owe nobody nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, he ain't one of them rappers that I judge like, oh, he made it and ain't fuck with us. Like he never talked about coming back. You know what I'm saying? He never talked about, he didn't brand our hood. Like I rep 6 Mile. So it's only right for now or, you know, in the future for me to go back and get back, because I'm coming up off that shit. I'm repping that shit. I'm talking about my struggle, which is now somebody else's struggle. But a person like Eminem, like, it's just all love, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. You, like, from listening to your music, hearing you talking in interviews, you have a crazy entrepreneurial spirit, like very, very business minded. Like you were definitely gonna get paid one way or another, right?
Yeah.
Do you look at yourself as like a really young man and like recognize that spirit in yourself?
Yeah, I was like that since I was a baby, like a little kid. You know, I could tell you some shit that'll fuck you up. Like it'll sound unbelievable, bro, but it was true.
I'm ready. Let's blow minds.
And when I was 13, I had a weed house. I had a spot, and that bitch was banging. I ain't have like me and my homeboys wasn't just bagging up nicks in a weed spot and, you know, sell a few bags here and there and felt like we was rolling. My shit was like it was slamming. I was doing like 1,000 a day out that bitch.
Really?
At the age of 13.
How the fuck do you end up putting that into effect? When I was 13, I was starting to get pubes and shit. I was
13 doing that.
Mind blown.
Yeah, I didn't even know what an ounce costed at the time. When I had a big dumbass bag of
like
weed.
The math alone.
I brought it to my big brother. And he was wondering where I got it from. We went through all that. And him asked me that. Then he showed me how to bag it up, how to weigh it up. Told me how much I should be charging for it. And there was a spot it was a bandit house down the street from my crib. We went in that bitch and rode out that motherfucker. And I had a good run. Bought me a car, everything when I was 13.
Wow, that's crazy.
I had niggas that was 21 rolling for me.
So who's buying the car for you when you're 13? You got a girl that's buying it or something?
No, I bought that bitch. I bought it. It was a Duster.
How the fuck you buy the car? Like, who you buying it from?
It was a guy down the street on the corner on Gunston and Sanford that was selling the car. He probably was like, dude at the time was probably like 18. He only wanted $1,000 for that bitch. I gave him a rack. I never got the car in my name. I never switched the title over. I never put a plate on that bitch. We used to buy the 15-day stickers from the, not the grocery store, from the car wash on 6 Mile for $20. And every 2 weeks, I go give me a new 15-day sticker. I used to hide the bitch from my mama.
That's
no
crazy.
cap. She found out I had that bitch too, man.
Did you know about like people selling crack and shit, and you realized that like selling weed was maybe a little bit safer?
No, I ain't know the difference. I think if I could have sold crack, I probably would have sold crack. But unfortunately, like, good for me that I never crossed that path to sell crack. Like, you know what I mean? I ain't never.
A little more serious business.
Yeah, it's serious. I ain't really had time for that shit.
How'd you get out of the weed game, or is that something that kept you afloat for many years?
13, I fucked the money up. I couldn't pay nobody back. It was over.
You smoking weed back then, or you weren't really on it yet?
Yeah, I was smoking weed too. Okay. Yeah, but these was Reggie's. We were smoking Gans at the time. I was selling Reggie's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I fucked that money up. That ain't last long.
Okay. You have any other hustles as a young man?
Nah, just that. Just weed.
That was the main one?
Yeah.
Okay. Another classic interview in the books. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and head on over to nojumper.com to support. Appreciate y'all.